Hi there, I'm Tom Field. I'm Senior Vice President of Editorial with Information Security Media Group. Delighted to welcome you today to our session entitled How CIOs Can Ensure Innovation, Longevity, and Security in Java Application Development. Your presenter today is Manish Gupta, Vice President of Marketing, Java, and Graal VM with Oracle. But before I turn this over to Manish, let me give you some background on our session today. The Java application development landscape is complex and bursting with possibilities. CIOs today have an enormous range of important options to consider and decisions to make impacting security, productivity, efficiency, ROI, innovation, and the longevity of the tools and resources with which they engage. In this session, you'll learn about new insights on managing some of the complexities of your Java deployments, including the power you may already be sitting on top of and not aware of with your Java investments, how to best manage and leverage your Java deployments for continued success, and how Java is built for evolution, both for on-premises and cloud development. So background on my organization, Information Security Media Group. We're a 16-year-old global education and intelligence firm. Our headquarters is in Princeton, New Jersey in the US. You may know us, of course, by one or more of our 34 media properties. These include bank info security, healthcare info security, and data breach today. In all, we reach an audience of over 1 million security leaders globally, and we give them a daily diet of news, analysis, research, events, and educational programs just like this one. Now, a few notes of housekeeping. One, if you have any questions for Manish during the course of this session, you can submit them anytime via the chat window on your screen. We won't get to every question today, but for those that we can't answer in the course of this session, we'll get responses back to you via email. Should you encounter any technical issues during this session, please take down the email address on your screen. If you write to webinars@ismg.io, we do have technical support staff standing by to help. Also, a reminder, today's webinar is copyrighted material meant for today's session and individual study purposes only. If you'd like to use any of the information presented today, or if you're looking for customized training materials, please contact us. Delighted to introduce our speaker today. Again, Manish Gupta is the Vice President of Global Marketing for Java and Graal VM at Oracle. He has over 25 years of leadership experience marketing solutions in the areas of databases, cloud-based integration and data management, in-memory processing, and timing and synchronization. Immediately prior to joining Oracle, he was the CMO at Redis Labs, where he helped build the global Redis community and elevated the platform to become the #1 in-memory database in the market. With that, it is my privilege to turn this over now to Manish Gupta. Manish, stage is all yours.
Thank you, Tom. Pleasure to be here. Welcome, everybody. The fact that you are here means you are probably running hundreds of applications across the organizations that are built on Java. You've already taken the first step in ensuring that you have a platform that has longevity, that continues to innovate and evolve continuously, and has security as front and foremost approach to its design and deployment. Today, I will share with you some of the things that are being done on the platform, attributes available to you as a Java subscription customer of Oracle, and what you can look forward to as you manage and evolve your Java platform. We recognize as IT management and speaking with our customers that complexity is paramount in your day-to-day endeavors. Whether you are managing and maintaining your Java applications, whether you're putting them through a journey of modernization, continue to run on premises or perhaps migrating to the cloud, or making new cloud native developments. Regardless of where you are in your suite of applications, on-prem, in a hybrid mode, or on the cloud, you are thinking of costs, security, and many more elements. But we know from our interaction with customers and many surveys conducted globally that management of complexity, ensuring that costs are contained, and preparing for environments which we all live in today, where security is not an issue that you can take as second in nature. It is a primary, it is front and center. We know that from some of the surveys that your applications are in a continual evolution mode. As you can see from the statistics here from 451, only 7% of your applications are likely to remain as is, which means 93% are going through some sort of changes, whether it's evolution to a new architecture, whether it's refactoring for better performance, whether it's creation of new environments or supporting of new environments. From a cost standpoint, you have human resource cost, infrastructure costs, costs for updating, costs for fixing, and continual strive for better efficiency of operations. And if you choose platforms that don't have the right long-term viewpoint and aren't continually evolving, you can find yourself in an environment where you're locked in. You can find environments where the costs continue to creep up. The statistics we have shared here, 22% average increase in costs if you don't have the right platform on which you've built your applications. And from a time to market standpoint, again, really important attribute is the fundamental selection of the cost itself. And the fact that you have Java applications running, you already have made the very first step. And I'll talk throughout the presentation today on some of the elements that you are either utilizing or perhaps are not aware that you have in your infrastructure that you could be utilizing for cost containment and enhanced efficiency as you manage your estate. On the security front, we know that breaches are not a question of if they will happen, but really when they will happen. And as you can see from the statistics from the VDC research, it shows that security has been the single most cited development challenge by IT managers and executives. And that's no surprise given what we have seen over the last several years. The frequency of attacks and breaches continues to grow over time. And these breaches affect not just our day-to-day operations, not only do they affect the internal challenges and bring challenges internally to an organization, but really the customer experience and the impact to the company and the brand can be long-lasting. We can see 93% of organizations run multiple older versions of Java that do not have public updates available any longer. And by not having that ability to update and cover with security patches and updates on new versions, you leave your organizations open to gaps in security, and an important element that needs to be covered as you maintain the Java estate. So let me talk a little bit about in the Java platform and the Java ecosystem, what you have with you, the power of that ecosystem, the power of the resource set that is already built into the Java platform. So the platform has evolved over the last 26 years, started out at Sun and then managed by Oracle for the last 10 to 12 years. There are three foundational principles of trust, innovation, and predictability. This large community of developers that exists around the world, so you can see over 10 million full-time developers, and over 75% of all developers have touched Java across their career. The development of the platform is done under OpenJDK in a transparent and open manner. That has been the case and continues to be the case. The innovation is not something that you're working on a platform that was started 26 years ago and has been stagnant, but it continues to evolve on a regular basis. And we'll talk more about that throughout the presentation. And then finally, the point of predictability. You know that if you're trying to run your applications for longevity in mind and to support your customer base over a long period of time, you need a platform that will continue to evolve, but more importantly, that will be around as your business requires it to be. Java has been the platform that's been there the longest of any other development platform. And given the innovation continues and the fact that the ecosystem is thriving, you know that this platform will be there to serve your organization's needs for many, many more years to come. In one of the more recent surveys from VDC, we have seen that Java is the preferred language and the #1 language for today's tech trends. In that particular survey, 14 different trends were looked at, and Java had a #1 rating in majority of those trends. It is also the preferred language and the #1 language the developers expect to use in the future. So not just in the past or today, but moving forward in the future. And finally, when you think about cloud native development or development in the cloud, Java is again the #1 preferred language by developers. And it clearly has the ubiquity, 56 billion active JVMs globally, of which about 70% are cloud-based. So all in all, you can see you've got a large developer community. You've got interest today and going forward. The modern trends are supported by the need and interest in Java. And this is the language and platform that you can trust. It's continually innovating and is predictable in nature. So digging a little bit deeper on what is that continuous innovation? As I mentioned earlier, the development of the Java platform occurs in an open and transparent manner within the OpenJDK. It's a forum. You can go to openjdk.java.net, look at the various projects. Some of those are listed to the right. And these are ongoing streams of innovation packaged as projects where several activities continue. And over time, as the capabilities mature, they translate into features that get introduced with different Java releases, going from Java 8 to now to Java 18 and so on. Few examples that are listed on the right. They really are about ensuring productivity, as you can see in Project Amber, focused on ensuring that the language is evolving to help continue to evolve and improve the productivity of developers. Project Loom focused on massively scalable, lightweight threads, making concurrency relevant and important and simple again. Project Panama really focused on applications that are intensive from an I/O standpoint. Valhalla, improving memory density and utilization for ML applications. And ZGC, a much more efficient garbage collector. So some examples of innovation on projects that will have continued to and will continue to bring in new capabilities over subsequent releases of Java. And so this approach allows for transparency and openness. It also allows for predictability in the sense that you know that new capabilities are being worked on across these projects and that over time, many of these will become feature set that are publicly available. And one very important part is not simply looking forward, but also ensuring that we're bringing the large install base of Java forward along with this innovation and evolution. You don't want to leave the community that has been invested into the platforms and applications that your organizations have built perhaps 5 or 10 years ago to be left behind. And you want to continue to have the opportunity to evolve and innovate and bring them forward so they're relevant for the future. And that is how the Java development and innovation is structured. So let's talk a little bit about what does that release cadence of these innovation of the various projects I just mentioned look like. In the past, through JDK 9, the approach was very much what you might call a feature-based approach. When the features were relevant, when they were mature enough, they would be packaged together in a release, and the release would then become generally available. And this could be between 2 to 5 years in between the releases, depending on the readiness of the release itself. As you can see, between JDK 8 and JDK 9, there was a little over 3 years of delta. Now, with the release of JDK 9, there was an announcement that was made to bring and make a change into the approach for bringing these new releases to market. Instead of being feature-based releases, these were now scheduled to be time-based releases. So you could predictably expect a new release to come out from JDK, from Java, every 6 months. And so from JDK 10 through JDK 18, which just occurred in March of 2022, it has worked like clockwork. Every 6 months, March and September, there has been a new Java release. And you can see with every release, there has been a certain number of new capabilities and features that have been released. Now, the volume of these features per release might seem smaller than what was in earlier cases with JDK 9 or JDK 8. However, in the time duration, time horizon of a 3+ years, it's the number of innovations are about the same. What happens with this shift in the release cadence being time-based is that the marketplace and the developers now have access to innovation much faster than they used to in the past. So this 6-month release cadence makes it predictable. It makes it easier for IT management to schedule and plan for resource availability to upgrade and to decide if they want to upgrade with every 6-month releases or every other release, or perhaps only with what you have seen in this chart as LTS, long-term support releases, which are JDK 8, 11, 17, and the next one will be 21. And you can choose to go either every 6 months, pick the releases as it makes sense for you, or go with the LTS releases. Those are all options available to you as an organization, as IT managers, to decide what's appropriate for your organization. But the predictability really does come in handy. And since we have had now over 3 years of that experience base out there, the marketplace is thriving based on this new release model. And this is going a bit deeper on what innovations have come to pass from these releases since the last LTS release of JDK 11 and the JDK 17 release that occurred in September of 2021. And you can see it's a large number of innovations that have been brought forward from the various projects I talked about, Valhalla, Loom, Amber, and so on, into these individual discrete releases. And if you take those features and say, what are these categories of things that have been brought to the market to continue to have this innovation available to developers and to keep Java moving forward, you can see the buckets range from language features, library enhancements, improvement in garbage collection, certain tools, things for easier debugging, architectural changes, and some forward-looking preview capabilities that will become full-featured over time as well. So significant enhancements across multitude of categories, as you can see here. And so you might ask, who provides the contributions for such a massive amount of innovation that's occurring and releasing every 6 months? There are many individuals and organizations that participate. So the ecosystem, as I said earlier, is truly thriving. The participation in the OpenJDK continues to grow. And we can see the names of various organizations globally that have participated and contributed to fixing bugs and to providing new capabilities. Even though we see tens of new features that are announced with every release, there are hundreds of fixes that actually occur at every one of those releases. And so cumulative viewpoint is what you see here between JDK 11 and JDK 18. And an important element to highlight is that while there are a large number of contributors, Oracle is by far the leading contributor to fixes and new innovations that are brought on into these various releases. And we continue to, for every single release, as well as in a cumulative manner. And that's not a fact that's new. It's been before the time-based release cadence was introduced, when the feature-based cadence was there, and it continues to be the case now and going forward. And another dimension beyond the innovation in the platform itself is the support and the input and the sponsorship of the various projects that make the community for what Java community is. We talked about the OpenJDK, where the innovation and the contributions happen. But on top of that, there is a Java community process. There's educational elements that are available through Oracle University and Oracle Academy. Java Magazine tends to be a very powerful channel for communication of education content. And there are new sites, dev.java, insight.java, that have been put together specifically with education in mind for the community. Java champions around the world are the luminaries that have made Java platform what it is. And as the leaders into the community, they continue to bring value and insight into the future and strategy behind the Java platform evolution. There are now over 350 user groups around the world that are very active with the Java platform. And we continue to get requests for new user groups to be added in different cities. And the Duchess program continues to be an important one, bringing in women developers into the community as well. And as you can see from the quote from James Governor of Redmond, this innovation has really been fostered with the approach that Oracle has taken with a 6-month release cadence. The predictability and the fact that you can accelerate the availability of innovation and bring that to the marketplace has truly made Java a modern platform for the next 25 years. All right, so now let's shift gears and talk about your environment. So I'm going to talk in this section about how and what can you leverage as you manage your Java applications. And many of you are running hundreds, in some cases, thousands of Java applications on-prem, perhaps in the cloud, perhaps in hybrid mode. So to make the lives of our customers easier, in addition to Advanced Management Console that existed to serve and manage the desktop side, we have recently launched the Java Management Service. It is an Oracle Cloud native service that gives you visibility, insight, and eventually auto-tuning capabilities to make it easier for you to have a single pane of glass where you can get a sense of what is running in your environment, what is the status, and what changes perhaps you ought to make for improvement. There are 4 very specific things I'll talk about today that are available to users of the Java Management Service, which comes part of the subscription. The first one is a single place for Java downloads. It's a location where you can have access to all of the Oracle JDK releases, whether they're public releases or commercial releases. It is a place where you can get an inventory of what JDKs are getting utilized across your deployed base, regardless of what and who the JDK provider is. You can get access to a security baseline information, which versions of Java are above or below the security baseline. And finally, you have an ability to monitor and set up alarms so that you can get a heads up if there are any usage or other challenges with your installed base. So 4 categories of things today, and a lot more coming on the roadmap if you were to take advantage of the Java Management Service to track your deployed base. And I have a couple of screenshots from the real life dashboard that is available as part of the Java Management Service. This particular one gives you a sense that you can get an inventory of your entire installed base on Java, regardless of the vendor that is being utilized for JDK. And as you can see, the vendors listed in the middle of the chart. And if you are using Oracle JDK, you have even greater level of insight. So you can see on the column that says security state, you're able to see if you need to update or if your particular instances are already up to date with the latest version. And hence you can get a sense of if there are any security gaps in your deployed base or not. A very powerful insight. A second viewpoint is Java application inventory. So if you were to see that for particular versions of Java or JDK, what applications are utilizing that, you can see that and get that perspective if you're running Oracle JDK. In this example, you can see that you've got 4 applications running on that one version of Oracle JDK. And there are many more such insights and dashboard visibilities that are available with the Java Management Service, a very powerful tool for the IT managers to get a sense of what is the deployed base today, what is the health of the deployed base, and what actions they ought to take to make it more secure and perhaps better performing installed base. And given that it's a native Oracle Cloud service, it's available to you globally wherever the Oracle Cloud infrastructure exists. And you can see it touches and covers pretty much the entire global footprint today. And it continues to add higher density over time with the new launches of OCI instances and data centers around the world. I will now turn my attention and talk a little bit about performance and efficiency. And along with the Java platform, we have been bundling for our customers entitlement to GraalVM Enterprise. It's a high-performance compiler that gives you the ability to improve performance and gives you additional efficiency. So let's dive into it. So GraalVM Enterprise, as I said, is a high-performance compiler. It can operate in just-in-time mode, or it can operate in what's known as ahead-of-time compilation or native image mode. And when you run it in just-in-time mode, you can expect a performance boost. We have seen in several benchmarks an average of 30% improvement in throughput. You also get capabilities such like improved garbage collection latency and so on. It's built on a large number of proprietary technologies pulled together to give you the performance boost I just mentioned. Now, if you run it in a native image mode, you're able to get further benefits. You get almost instantaneous startup time, and you're able to reduce the needs on the compute resources, and it reduces your memory footprint. Those things directly relate to your reduction in a cloud bill. So your footprint is smaller, which means the resource requirements and hence the cloud bill goes down. So you get the performance boost while you also get the benefit of reduced cost on your cloud native environment, or perhaps when you run your microservices applications. And the last piece I want to talk about is the ability for Crawl VM Enterprise to compile code written in multiple languages. JVM languages and others are all part of this. As you can see, Python, JavaScript, Ruby are some examples of that. This chart from a simulation we did recently compares the operations in just-in-time mode versus the native image mode. And you can see that there is a significant reduction in CPU utilization as well as in the memory footprint, which can be several times and directly equates to your cost reduction if you're doing cloud native application development or running your workloads in the cloud. And just like any platform development, is it supported by the community? Is there an ecosystem behind it? And the answer is yes. Crawl VM Enterprise is supported by multiple frameworks, as you can see, Spring, Micronaut, Quarkus, Helidon, etc. And you can run it in containers, which is ideal for microservice environments. And you can also run your functions capabilities in a serverless architecture if that's where you are. So now let me talk a little bit about support from Oracle. The Oracle Java support is unparalleled. Given I've shared with you, Oracle is the leading contributor to the OpenJDK and the Java platform development endeavors. It is also the steward fostering the growth of the Java community. We have access to information, toolkit, and most importantly, over 15 years of experience serving this community. Every single developer in the Oracle Java support team has 15 or more years of experience. And you can imagine, having served and solved the problems of our customers over this large duration, these support engineers have seen a very diverse set of challenges and problems throughout the years and are really well prepared and positioned to solve your needs. And an additional piece to that is this organization is backed by engineers, the same engineers that contribute to the development of the platform itself. So no matter how deep or how hairy the problem, they have access to the right resources to get you the answers and to solve your problems. And when we thought about putting together the support capability for our customers, we want to make sure not only did we bring the best of breed technical resources in terms of human resources, but also to package it so that it covers the needs of organizations around the world. So supporting in 27 languages throughout the year, 24/7, gives us the ability to serve any and all customers, no matter where and what the problem might be. Now, in addition to the resources, we wanted to make sure that the security updates are available to the marketplace and to our customers. So every quarter, there's a critical patch updates that are made available with the right bug fixes and security enhancement that's made available. In addition to that, there are interim releases that are made available to our customers to pick up certain issues and problems that perhaps have surfaced, and those are made available to the customers even before the quarterly updates or new versions of JDK are available. For customers that are relying and deploying the long-term support or the LTS releases, they have at least 8 years of support available to them. And in many cases, we extend that even further. For example, Java 8 has been around for a long time. We've announced that it'll be available, or the support will be available till 2030. Just gives you an example that updates on those versions are available for at least 8 years, 3 years of premier support, 5 years of extended support. And as in 8, we intend, in many cases, do extend that beyond the 8-year window as well. So you have access to a diverse set of capabilities. You have access to the updates with the right fixes and security patches to serve all of your needs from Oracle Java support team. And as we work with our customers, one of the things we try to do is stay in lockstep with them to understand what really is important to them and how we can serve them better on an ongoing basis. So this survey we worked with IDC in 2021 gave us a pretty good insight. The first insight was that there are many, many reasons why a commercial support engagement on Java is helpful for our customers. But really, what is the ranking? And the ranking, range from performance optimization to access to technical resources, to access in local languages, to accelerated bug fixes, and so on. But really, each organization has its own priorities and needs. And we want to make sure that our offering from Oracle Java, supporting the needs of our customers, regardless of the size of the customers, regardless of what geography they're in, and regardless of what industry they operate in. Really want to bring that in a broadest manner possible. And to accomplish that goal, we have created and launched about 4 years ago a subscription offering called Oracle Java SE Subscription. And let me summarize what that entails. It's a comprehensive solution that is intended to support your Java environment, regardless of if you're running just a handful of Java applications or if you're running hundreds of Java applications across your organization. It's a simple offering that's very easy to understand. It includes all the elements I've been talking about as part of a single package. It's relevant for all organizations across all industries, available globally, and we're continually adding new value to that offering. Details of that can be found on the URL listed to the right-hand side. And the pricing structure for this is fairly simple and easy to understand. It aligns with what we know as a service model that we all like to have, which is a pay-as-you-go model. On the desktop front is $2.50 per month. And on the server side or in the cloud, the pricing is $25 a processor per month on an annualized contract basis. And the discount structures based on the scale of your deployment are published on the website. So no surprises. It's a granular pay-as-you-go model relevant to all sizes of your deployment. And some of the things I've talked about, it includes, of course, the access to commercial version of Oracle JDK. It gives you ongoing updates, even for some of these supported versions that have reached end of public updates. It gives you timely interim updates. You get customer bug fixes and enhancements on an appropriate basis. You have support of the best support organization in the world in 27 languages. You have entitlement for Graal VM Enterprise, which gives you the performance boost and the efficiency you talked about. And you have access to the management tools like the Java Management Service and Advanced Management Console. So all of these capabilities packaged together in a simple, easy to understand, transparent pricing model. And if you're running your Java workloads on Oracle Cloud, you have all of these capabilities available to you at no incremental cost. And you may wonder, the charge that I talked about in the previous chart, if you scale that up, what does that equate to? And how does that compare to if you were running and supporting your own environment and updating every 6 months to keep up with the new releases and to keep up with security patches? What might that look like? So we did a very detailed analysis and the modeling with our partner Wikibon. In 2020, focused on the very high end of the marketplace. In 2019, focused on the high end of the marketplace. And in 2020, focused on the mid-size of the market. So on the left-hand side, these were enterprises that were greater than 20 billion in revenue, running over 500 applications. And the study indicated, and the model revealed, that there is about a 30% saving over a 4-year period when you compare to running the Oracle Java SE subscription versus updating and upgrading every 6 months to keep up with the new features and security patches. Similarly, on the right-hand side, you can see the analysis done a year later focused on the mid-sized enterprises that were over 2.5 billion in revenue and running about 270 plus applications. And again, the percentage is about 30% savings over 4 years. The magnitude is obviously smaller, but the savings percentage is about the same. So a very powerful economic validation that the investment on the Oracle Java SE subscription actually pays you back many times over while keeping you more secure, while giving you the flexibility to move and upgrade at the pace that works for your businesses and not having to worry about keeping up with the 6-month release cadence. So if I was to sum up the value that is derived by our customers for the Oracle Java SE subscription, it is focused on security and compliance, access to management and support, the flexibility you have to move at the pace of your business, and the ability to benefit from the performance and efficiency that comes with things like Growl VM Enterprise. All of those things is what we hear back from our customers as a value that is being experienced by them every day. And I wanted to spend a little bit of time, as I know, if not all of you, most of you are thinking about migrating to the cloud or building cloud native applications. So if you are considering Oracle Cloud Infrastructure for Java workloads, why might that make a lot of sense for you when you think about other public cloud options available in the marketplace? I want to start with the green circle on the top. The first one, as I've talked about today, there is no other Java technical support capability than what you can get with the Oracle Java support team, whether you're running in the cloud or you're running on premises. The second one is the entitlement to Java management service. Again, a single pane of glass gives you full visibility into your Java deployment on-prem, on cloud or multi-cloud, or in a hybrid manner. Free entitlement to Growl VM Enterprise, better performance, better efficiency, lower cost. All of that for Java workloads, running in a microservices environment, and particularly running in a cloud native mode on OCI. And OCI itself supports hybrid and multi-cloud environments. Whether you're running Java workloads, Oracle database, or other workloads, you have that. And so if you package together the Java workloads running on OCI, you now have best of both worlds. You have the best of built-in security, and you have a superior price performance of any other public cloud available to you. So this combination really looks like a match made in heaven. And if I was to peel the onion a bit more about Oracle Cloud, some of the unique attributes in comparison to the other public clouds. The first one is off-box virtualization. So complete isolation of instances for better security and performance. Built on custom security chips. So taking into account zero trust approach to give you better security. Non-blocking networks, dedicated to give you the same performance in public cloud as you see on-premises networks. Layer 2 network virtualization, so you can build out your cluster better. RDMA cluster networking to give you lower latency, and flexible infrastructure to scale both horizontally and vertically as your business grows. So to bring it home, let me summarize some of the things I've touched upon in my talk today. The first one that you're dealing with, complexity, with hundreds, if not more, Java applications. The fact that you have selected Java as your platform of development and deployment, you've already made a fantastic choice. It's the #1 programming language for today's trends, #1 for cloud development, and most important to developers, organizations, operations, all from the survey and directly from the customer base. You have access to Java management service that improves manageability across all deployments, on-prem, in the cloud, or in hybrid mode. Oracle support gives you the most experienced and diverse capability as your partner to deal with the complexity. And finally, the continuous innovation makes sure that as your needs evolve, the Java platform is growing with you to support your needs. On the cost front, again, Java-based projects are more likely to be on time and cost less compared to other platforms. This is directly from the study quoted below. You have the business flexibility to move if you're using the Java subscription, and that saves you about 30% cost over a 4-year period, as I indicated earlier. And Growl VM Enterprise further reduces your cloud bill if you're running in a cloud native mode. On the security front, Java subscription gives you the access to fixes and updates for versions that have reached end of public updates. You get bug fixes that can be prioritized for your environment if that's critical. And the Oracle support is there to work with you hand in hand should you face security issues or anticipate security challenges. This partnership brings you the best of breed capability to serve your Java needs. And you might ask, how is a subscription being adopted around the world? It is now become ubiquitous in many ways. We have thousands of customers around the world. As you can see, in all parts of the geography, all parts of the globe, in all industries, and from very large customers. We now have over 50% of Fortune 500 as customers, down to small development houses. So regardless of your size and your industry you're in, you have access to Oracle support. You have access to the great technologies I talk about through the Oracle Java SE subscription. And so serving your needs of innovation, longevity, and security with the Java deployed base, Oracle and the Oracle Java SE subscription and Oracle Cloud Infrastructure are your best choices. With this, we'll pass on to Q&A segment. Thank you for your attention today.
Very good, Manish. Thank you so much for your presentation. We do have the opportunity, as you said, to take questions now from the audience. A reminder, if you haven't submitted questions yet, you still can. You can do so via the chat window on your screen. We won't get to every question, but for those that we don't respond to in the course of this session, we will get answers back to you via email. Manish, first question I have for you. How does the Java SE subscription help contain costs and enhance security?
Yeah, there are those are two big buckets, security and cost. So let me talk first about the cost side of things. I mentioned GraalVM Enterprise. GraalVM Enterprise gives you the ability to develop in microservices environment or cloud native environment. And if you run it in a native image mode, you're able to run that with a lower memory footprint, with lower compute resources. And with that reduction, it directly translates into your cloud bill. So that's one way of cost saving. The second one is in the study we did with Wikibon, it showed that if you were trying to keep up with the 6-month releases, you would need a certain amount of human resources and technical resources ready to sort and update your deployed base with those releases. Instead of that, if you had the Java SE subscription, you could move certain parts of your workload at a cadence 1, another part of workload, cadence 2, and so on. Essentially moving the workload that maps to your business needs. And that flexibility is really, really important because you can have your resources focused on the business needs as opposed to trying to keep up with these versions of Java. And that flexibility and resource optimization is directly translative into cost savings. So those are examples of cost saving. On the security front, the fact that you have access to interim releases, the fact that you have access to perhaps bug fixes in an accelerated manner, the fact that you have access to updates for even the versions that have reached end of public updates, all of those give you ability to keep up with the security baseline. And so by definition, you have better security posture than you would without those updates and releases. So those are, hopefully that answers the question.
Question I have for you. Is there an additional fee for using Java Management Service?
No, there isn't. If you are a Oracle Java SE subscription customer, or if you are an Oracle Cloud customer, you have access to Java Management Service at no incremental cost. Single pane of glass, full visibility into your deployed state, and an input and better insight if you're running Oracle JDK on your security baseline, on the versions you're running, and the list goes on.
Next up, how is Java a good platform for working with microservices?
Yeah, again, Java is the preferred platform for cloud-based applications. It's a preferred platform for cloud native development. It's a preferred platform for microservices framework development. And the reason it is not just for, because it's got the performance, because it's got the most capabilities, but in addition to those things, it is a platform that's continually evolving to meet the needs. It is a platform that's continually focused on developer productivity. It is a platform that's got the largest ecosystem. So if you're looking for diversity in frameworks, if you're looking for diversity in your development toolkit, if you're looking for diversity in your compiler technology, you have those options available to you to meet your precise needs. And that flexibility, that capability, and the option set available makes it ideal. And specifically on microservices, going back to what I talked about on GraalVM and GraalVM Enterprise, it's an environment which is a high performance compiler. So if you're looking for performance boost for microservices, or if you're looking for efficiency in the code base itself, being able to compile it in a more efficient manner, running in a native image mode, lower compute resources, lower memory footprint, all of those things make it relevant. And finally, I'll add the polyglot element of GraalVM as well. So if you're writing a microservices or an application with multiple microservices, in different languages, you can compile them in a single code base with GraalVM Enterprise.
For a couple more questions. First, I get the idea of running Oracle database on Oracle Cloud, but how do I run Java on Oracle Cloud?
So Oracle Cloud, Java is amongst the largest workloads that's running on Oracle Cloud. People are doing this every day. You have a few options. You can run compute, which can be it can be a VM or a bare metal if you want a whole server running just for yourself. If your app is running on VMware, if you can host that with OCI VMware solution. For containerized apps, there is the OKE environment, which is Oracle's managed Kubernetes service, and OCI functions if you want to go down the serverless route.
Follow-up question. Why use Oracle Cloud to run Java? What's unique about this combination?
It's probably the best combination. If you're running Java applications, you want to work with the best partner, and Oracle, for all the things I've talked about today, our stewardship, our innovation, our focus and priority on Java. And then Oracle Cloud. Today in the public cloud environments, it's the best choice if you're looking for the best cost performance environment. Putting the two together makes it the best. And to be more specific, you have access to Java Management Service, you have access to GraalVM Enterprise, and you have access to the best support on Java. All of those available to you for free if you are an Oracle Cloud customer.
Very good. Manish, thanks so much for your time and insight today, both for your presentation and for answering these questions as well.
Thank you.
Of course, I want to thank our attendees as well. We recognize you took time out of your day to attend this session. We're grateful for that. And I do trust that today's discussion provided some excellent new data points, new insights to enable you and your organization to be even better prepared to tackle the Java issues we discussed here today. I look forward to seeing you again at one of our upcoming sessions. Until then, for Information Security Media Group, I'm Tom Field. Thanks so much for your time and attention today.